Well, this is a part of it I've never thought about before. Driving back to town with a little girl's dead body in your trunk. How did it feel, guys? Did it feel cool? Did it feel strong? Powerful? I'm sure Rucker was indoctrinating Timmy the entire trip down this canyon. Just exactly what would happen should he ever say a word. Telling him again and again, it's on your hands too now, you're part of it now, you're in this now, this is on you too, you're involved. I'll do the same thing to you if you ever tell anyone anything. Man, oh man. But the thing is, if you're gonna be involved in covering up a murder, Timmy, you shouldn't get drunk, like super drunk in public, and then start talking. Because over the years, he kept talking and admitting it to different people again and again, and changing his story and just getting himself caught. And then Rucker would blow up. I remember a story where he was dragging Maine, and somebody pissed him off, and he threatened to murder him, and he's like, I've killed before and I'll kill you. Like, they just couldn't keep their big proud mouths shut about the cool thing they did. Fellas, I gotta tell you, I hope that's been one heck of a weight to carry your entire lives. I hope you've woken up a whole bunch of times in a dead sweat, panicked. I hope you've had to look over your shoulder every day of your life, wondering when is that other shoe gonna drop. Because I'm telling you, the guys on this side of the thing, we've wondered the same thing. We've sat here and watched nothing happen for 30. Imagine it was your daughter or your sister or your friend. What would you do? Because I'll tell you what everyone here's done. We just moved on. Everyone just kind of moved on. I mean, it's talked about occasionally. In the beginning, there were flyers everywhere. I mean, you must have seen these flyers. These flyers went up absolutely everywhere, and it was surreal to walk into every store and be reminded again and again, hey, your friend's missing. Hey, your friend's missing. Hey, your friend's probably dead. Hey. And every day as it went on and we got closer to the play had this ghost. It just had this heavy, because Kiplyn was not a person who would just have taken off. Kiplyn is not a person who would have, we knew there was only one reason Kiplyn was gone. You know, this part I'm actually fuzzy on. I can't recall if they left the truck box up there and went back for it. I kind of feel like that maybe was what happened. Or if they just put her in the truck and brought the truck down. Either way, yeah, I don't recall. And I'm not going to fact check any of this, by the way. This is all just from memory. I didn't want to look into it because I didn't want all the cross thoughts in my brain. I just wanted to spew forth my truth, as I so often do. Anyway, they either went back for the truck box or brought it down with them. But that's when, unfortunately, they got another friend of mine involved. I don't even remember why they made Chris get involved, but they brought her to him. I think they needed to switch up and get a different truck. His truck was involved. Anyway, she ended up in his truck at his house that night. By then, her dad knew for sure that something was up. And he had been calling and looking around, and people from the school had said, hey, we saw her talking to these two guys by this truck. So he knew that day that she had been seen with these two dudes, Rucker and Timmy. So he tried to track them down that night, and he drove around the city, and he drove past their friend Chris's house, and he saw a truck with a toolbox in the bed, which probably contained his daughter's body. Richard, my man. How you have gone on living in this city for 30 years since, holding your head up high, talking to the press as often as you can, trying to get a resolution. Bro, I don't know how you've kept your composure. So they brought her to Chris and made Chris get involved, and then they hid her and waited until later in the dark of the night, which is where they got rid of the body. And this part's 100% my conjecture, but here's what I think happened to her. Here's why I think she's never been found. Here's my hypothesis on where she went. Let's go. Unfortunately, this is where I think she ended up. I believe one of them was working construction in this neighborhood at the time when these houses were first being built 30 years ago. And my conjecture is, but I think one of them knew. They involved a couple of other guys, like a Gary guy and some other dude, Randy or some other, I don't know those dudes at all. There's two other guys that got roped into it somehow. And I think it's because they were doing construction here. I think they knew of a house where the footings had already been approved and signed off on so that the next day they could be pouring the concrete. I think they took her body there. I think they removed a little section of the footing form. I think they dug down a little bit, enough to cover her with dirt. I think they put the form back. I think the next morning a concrete truck showed up, poured the concrete. She's gone. I've thought about this one a lot. A lot. And that's why I think they've never found her, is because she's under one of these houses. Because think about it. It's pretty smart. If that's what they did with her, it's pretty freaking smart. Because it's already approved, it's already signed off on, it's plenty wide enough to fit her little body, especially if she's in bad shape, and they don't really, it's not like they were delicately placing her there, right? So I think they dug a shallow little grave, and I think they stuffed her in it and covered it with enough rocks and dirt to make it look, I mean, it didn't have to look anything. It's a construction site. It should be disheveled. And then the concrete dried. They built a house, covered it all up. A happy family moved in. What do you think, boys? Did I get that one right too? So I'm in her old neighborhood. I was gonna show you her house and talk about all that, but it feels exploitative. I don't want this to be that. Honestly, all I wanted to do here was tell her story. The unfortunate story of the last day of her life, as this is the anniversary of that day. Because I think it sucks that she went out that way and that we never got the full story. So unless one of y'all want to stand up and tell me I'm wrong and correct the story and tell us what actually did happen, this is the story that I've lived with. And a lot of people I know have lived with. And it sucks. It's really senseless. It's just such a waste of such a great person who had a bright future, who would have gone on to brighten a lot of people's days, because that's who she was. And it's really been hard to live in the same community as these dudes. I do think, you know what, Timmy might still be in jail. I think I said somewhere along the way that I don't know if he ever had kids. I'm pretty sure he went to jail. And might still be in jail, which I hope, and if so, that's great. But that makes it even weirder to me, because, dude, if you've done hard time for years and years and years, and you didn't start it or do it, but just, like, got involved once he kicked it off, you know what I mean? Like, I'll never understand how Rucker just has gone about his life, man. I don't know. It bums me out, and I can't imagine how hard the Davis's lives have been. I've been in touch with her sister several times over the years, and it's just really tragic to see the layer upon layer of devastation that's wrought by this sort of act, and how often this kind of thing happens in America. Hug your kids every chance they'll let you. Hold them tight. Make them feel loved and secure. Make sure that they don't ever look to the bad boy for comfort, because bad boys do bad things. That's a lesson I learned when I was 14, and I watched the fallout after a bad boy murdered one of my friends. We miss you, Kiplyn. I'm not here to say we were the closest pals, but you were my buddy, dude. I really get sad this time of year thinking about the loss and the heartache that's been wrought, and the injustice. It's a thick stew of different reasons to feel emotion. 30 years, guys. Justice for Kiplyn, man. Let's close this book.